The history of the ninja world is written in the blood of the most powerful clans to ever walk the earth. When we think of the founding of the Hidden Leaf Village and the wars that shaped the allied shinobi nations, our eyes naturally turn to the men who were called gods. Hashirama Senju, Madara Uchiha, two forces of nature that collided at the legendary Valley of the End, tearing the earth apart and redefining the very concept of power. But while fire and wood tore the battlefield to pieces, and the hatred of an Uchiha controlled the most destructive creature on the planet, the nine-tailed fox, the true destiny of the world, was not decided by brute force. Instead, it was forged by the silent courage of a single woman. Mito Uzumaki, a kunoichi whose power and lineage were as vast as the secrets of her own clan. Faced with a monster that no nation could contain, she did not waver. She made a decision that would alter the history of Konoha forever. She chose to turn her own body into a demon's prison. Welcome to a deep dive into the history of the first and most imposing Jinchuriki in history. This is the forgotten saga of Mito Uzumaki. To understand the sheer magnitude of Mito's power, we must look beyond the walls of Konoha, back to a time before the leaves ever turned green. We must travel to the land of whirlpools, to a place known as Uzushio, the village hidden among whirlpools. This was the cradle of the Uzumaki Clan. They were not just ordinary shinobi. They were a lineage of anomalies. While other clans focused on versatile combat arts, the Uzumaki specialized in things that terrified the rest of the world. An absurd, almost limitless life force, massive, overwhelming reserves of chakra, and a terrifying absolute mastery over Fuinjutsu, the art of sealing. They were cousins to the Senju, both descending from the ancient lineage of Ashura Otsutsuki. But where the Senju chose balance, the Uzumaki took the raw vitality of their ancestor and pushed it to its absolute limits. Mito was born into this legacy, a princess of red hair, carrying a chakra so vast and pure it felt like a roaring bonfire in a world of dimming candles. As the Warring States era drew to a close, and Hashirama Senju sought to solidify his dream of a unified village, he knew brute strength alone would not suffice. He needed an anchor, an alliance of blood and souls. That anchor was Mito. Her marriage to Hashirama was far more than a political arrangement. It was the binding of the two most powerful life forces on Earth. She left her home behind, bringing the sacred secrets of Uzushio's sealing arts to the foundations of the Hidden Leaf. But Konoha had no idea that this quiet princess from the whirlpools would soon become the only wall standing between them and total annihilation. The moment that sealed Mito's fate arrived in the aftermath of a catastrophic clash. At the Valley of the End, Madara Uchiha had brought forth the ultimate force of destruction, the nine-tailed fox, bound by the genjutsu of the Sharingan. Even though Hashirama managed to break Madara's control over the beast, its sheer existence remained an immediate threat. The Kyuubi was too powerful and too unstable to be left roaming free. It was a force that could dismantle the fragile peace of the newly founded village within seconds. Faced with this crisis, Mito made her choice. Utilizing the advanced Fuinjutsu of her homeland, she intervened. She suppressed the rampaging beast, drawing its massive, hateful chakra into herself and sealing it within her own body. With that single act, she became history's first Jinchuriki. But containment was only half the battle. Mito was an exceptional sensory ninja, possessing the rare ability to perceive negative emotions. This meant she didn't just carry the beast. She could constantly feel its raw malice, its hatred, and its resentment, echoing inside her mind. For decades, she endured this unseen mental war, balancing her duties to Konoha with the immense burden of retaining the strongest of the tailed beasts. Through absolute discipline and emotional control, she ensured the Nine Tails never found a single crack in her defense. Mito redefined what it meant to be a shinobi, showing the world that the ultimate defense wasn't built on stone walls, but on an unyielding mind. Time passed, and the Hidden Leaf Village grew under the shadow of peace. But for Mito, that peace came with an immense, silent cost. As the years wore on, she witnessed the passing of her husband, Hashirama, and the slow, inevitable aging of her own body. Yet, her most profound test would come from the world outside Konoha's borders. The world grew to fear the terrifying sealing techniques of the Uzumaki Clan. That fear eventually turned into a coordinated atrocity. Multiple nations launched a surprise, overwhelming assault on the land of whirlpools. Uzushio, Mito's homeland, was completely annihilated, leaving the surviving members of her clan scattered across the world as refugees. Mito, now a matriarch in Konoha, had to bear the grief of her burning homeland while remaining a flawless anchor for the Nine Tails. During her long decades as a Jinchuriki, she also discovered a critical, dangerous vulnerability. The seal holding the beast would weaken to near collapse during childbirth. This became one of Konoha's most guarded secrets, a high-stakes vulnerability that required absolute isolation and protection. But containing the ultimate beast required more than just standard sealing methods. It demanded a continuous, flawless control of energy. On her forehead, Mito carried a distinct diamond-shaped mark, the strength of 100 seal, known as the Byakugu. This ancient Uzumaki sealing technique allowed her to store massive amounts of chakra in a single point over years of absolute concentration. Mito passed this profound knowledge down to her granddaughter, Tsunade Senju, who would later adapt it to create the ultimate medical rebirth jutsu. Decades later, that very same lineage of knowledge would be inherited by Tsunade's disciple, Sakura Haruno. This mark was not just a symbol of medical mastery, it was a testament to Mito's revolutionary understanding of chakra manipulation. A technique born from the necessity of keeping a demon suppressed, which eventually became a gift of healing for future generations. Eventually, as Mito grew elderly and frail, the leadership of the Leaf realized a grim reality. Her life force was fading, and a new container had to be chosen before the beast could break free. For this purpose, a young girl from the ruins of the Uzumaki Clan was brought to the village. Her name was Kushina. Kushina was terrified, crushed by the realization that she had been brought to Konoha merely to become a cage for the world's most feared monster. Sensing the young girl's despair, the elderly Mito brought her close. She didn't offer empty words of political duty, but rather the hard-earned wisdom of her own life. Mito looked into Kushina's eyes and told her that even though they were destined to be vessels, they could still find happiness. She gave her a single, definitive truth. Before the beast is brought into your body, you must first fill your container with love. It was this wisdom that allowed Kushina to survive her fate, and later, pass that same resilience down to her own son, Naruto. Mito didn't just contain a monster, she established the emotional blueprint that would one day save the world. Mito Uzumaki lived a long, purposeful life, carrying a hidden burden that few in the shinobi world could truly comprehend. She passed away peacefully after successfully transferring the Nine Tails to Kushina, leaving behind a village that had been built, secured, and stabilized, largely due to her silent endurance. Though her name eventually drifted into the quiet corners of history, Her legacy remained physically woven into the very fabric of the hidden leaf. To this day, every shinobi of Konoha carries a piece of her homeland on their tactical uniforms. The red swirl emblazoned on the back of the village's vests is far more than a simple design. It is a permanent tribute to the Uzumaki Clan and the unbreakable bond that saved the leaf from destruction. Mito proved that true power does not always make itself known through loud declarations or battlefield triumphs. Sometimes it sits quietly in the shadows, maintaining absolute discipline so that the generations to come can grow up in the light. She was the first anchor of the leaf, the pioneer of the Jinchuriki system, and the woman who left behind the definitive truth for anyone carrying a heavy burden. That the only way to withstand immense hatred is to first fill your heart with an absolute capacity to love.